Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Content Connect. I don't know how many of these we have done so far, but it's going great. Today, we're talking to a seasoned technical writer, a very close friend of mine, and actually one of the best creatives I know, Goke, and he's going to be walking us through his journey, life, career, some tips for you guys as well. And I can't wait to just sort of show you everything that's in store. Thank you for agreeing to this today. I'll start off a bit light. Who's your favorite Nigerian artist? I think I know, but let's be sure.
You know?
Is it that Potako boy?
What do you mean?
Is it the Potako boy?
Which Potako boy?
Kosimano.
Oh, Prince Emmanuel. Well. To be honest, I like music, but I'm not. I would say I'm a fan. So I don't really think I have one favorite artist.
Okay, if you rank Prince Emmanuel on a list of your top 10 hypothetical, what are you putting?
It's hard because there are other great artists as
well.
God,
see, don't give all these diplomatic answers. Just
okay, you want to hear
yes.
Prince Emmanuel? No,
hey, thank you. Now you can move on.
Are you kidding me?
All right. So for those that don't know you that are watching now, who are you? What do you do, and why should they care?
Why should they care? Okay, they should care because it's me. Come on. Anyway, hello everyone. My name is Adegoke Joshua. I am a content writer / editor, and I've been in the industry for about 3 years now, I think. And what I do basically is to help brands to inform, educate, and inspire their audience to take action, specific action. And I'm happy to share my experiences and insights with you today. Thank you for having me.
Sure. 3 years, that's 4 years, Sha. And the writer is not writer, is senior writer, but we'll get to that later.
When you are in an organization, so as an engineer would say, I'm an engineer, but when you go to his company, he's now maybe senior somewhere. So, but we are, come on, I'm a writer.
Okay, so you are forming. Interesting. All right, so let's go to your background a bit. How did your journey into content start? Why content? Yeah, just walk us through. Just a bit of professional background. Yeah.
So, interestingly, what led me to start content, whether you like it or not, it was Sakpa.
I think like 2 guests have said something about Sakpa.
So I think 2021, it was intense.
What was intense? The desire for content of the Sakpa?
Sakpa was intense. Okay. I was almost even going to debt. And I just needed to pay off. But I had been hearing people, yourself inclusive, people are writing and making money of this thing. And I just didn't really understand to what potential. Okay, what is this actually possible? And for me at the time, I saw writing as an opportunity to, I only wrote when there was something beckoning on me to write. So there's a competition. Okay. I write an essay. I do.
So this one of those essay competitions.
So exactly.
Okay.
So I was
win any of them?
Yes. I did. Yeah. Okay. No. I think I won. I think I won money. Okay. But not. I didn't come tops. Okay. But when MTN scholarship. Okay. We were told to write
an essay,
and so that got me eventually led me to get in scholarship. But that aside, so I decided to just searching words. What can I do? And then with people like you, people like Treasure, Kure, I don't think she was earning from writing at the time, but she wrote a lot. And I was just looking for the desire to. How do you guys find the desire to just write? You just think you want to write. What are you writing? And then I realized that, okay, people are actually making money of this. So I decided to ask questions. And when I spoke with a couple friends, I got inside and I was like, okay, let me try this. And then that was when I reached out to you as well and took on the conversation from there. I had to refine myself, just write a lot more. But I wouldn't lie. Quite all right. The skill was there, but I equally had to refine it. So that's how I started. And today it's been a wonderful 3-year journey there.
3+.
It's actually 3 years. I started 2021.
That was early 2021.
No, October ending.
Also, wow, you even remember the months. Interesting.
Yeah, why don't I?
All right, so for 3 years
Why
of
don't I?
experience. Before writing, what did you do
I was just a student.
as a student?
Oh, I dabbled into what's the name of that thing? What's the name of that? I don't want to call it a Ponzi scheme, but I've already called it a Ponzi scheme like this.
Rock
That
study.
yes.
Oh,
So
no.
I did rack study, I did crypto, I did forex trading. I'd still go back to forex, yeah, but
How did that work out? I don't know.
let's
I
not
feel like
go
laughing.
there. No, I had a good experience, honestly.
Okay.
It taught me. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and it taught me some things about myself. It taught me greed. That
Oh, greed.
I can't be a greedy person. Taught me discipline as well,
Okay.
and just knowing how to manage your money and all of that. But I think it's something everybody should learn how to, learn how to trade, because you discover things about yourself that you don't know. But
So I
that
could be a
aside,
greedy person now. I don't know.
yeah, you are a
I need
greedy
to-
person.
I mean,
Ah,
you are
you're
a greedy person.
Until, I mean, when you're seeing, let's not go there.
Let's not go there. All right. This is a conversation about content.
Of course.
All right. So let's move into your first ever job experience. How did you get your first role? Was it a full-time contract, freelance? How was it?
It was a referral, and I think yes, that was when you referred me to another friend of yours who
Okay.
I'm equally still working with, and I think that was just the turning point. Um, I usually say referrals are one of the greatest ways. You just need to find someone that believes in you,
Okay.
and from there, obviously, be good. But then from there, it can lead to something else. That was a very defining moment for me. So that's where I started from, and it was a ghost writing.
Because right then, so you didn't get byline credit or
At
anything
all.
like that. Okay.
But months down the line, I was trusted enough to be referred again, which eventually earned me my first publishing.
Publishing role.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
you roll back a bit. You said something about referrals, right? One of the best ways to get job, right? Are they apart from the direct referrals, right? How else can people get jobs like in the writing space?
I mean, applications. That's.
I mean,
normal.
obviously there's
You have
applications,
to-
but like aside the typical cold mail this recruiter or there's a job application available, what are maybe some of the platforms you personally use to get gigs from time to time? Yeah.
You want to be visible.
Okay. That's like branding.
Yes, visibility helps. I think it was Treasure I heard this from. She said visibility is currency.
Yeah, digital
And
currency.
yes, it helps a lot. Just knowing that let people see you, see what you do. Sometimes you could just get DMs. You could just get a message or a mail reaching out from a company reaching out to you. They saw the work that you've done and they would like you to blah 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 blah, and from there it could be lead into a job.
Okay.
Aside from the traditional application route and referrals, I think that's one very
personal branding,
personal
visibility.
branding that I think you can actually use as a critical tool to land you jobs.
Okay. Let's walk back just a little bit. Your first job role or your first byline role, where was that?
It's Career Karma,
Okay.
and
What was your primary JD there?
I think Career Karma specializes in helping people navigate from non-tech careers into tech roles.
Oh, okay.
So it was more or less like career navigation gig. We wrote articles weekly. There was a time we wrote nothing less than 4-5K word articles.
Okay, so long form content.
Long form content. Twice, we could write that twice a week. It was a lot, but I think it was the stepping stone to where I'm at today. I learned a whole lot.
Like
their feedback. One thing I'm grateful for Karakama because they had a very good community. The set of editors there were just phenomenal, and the kind of feedback they gave, very practical feedback, tell you what was wrong, why you need to change it, the impact it has on the content,
and how you can even
improve.
Yeah.
So it led me to even on my own accord do more research.
Okay.
And what I do sometimes when I hear a phrase I don't know, I research it before asking, so I don't look stupid. I will do every form of research. So it helped me. Yes, it's good to be inquisitive, ask questions, but it helped me get more insights
and ask smart questions.
And so I realized that over time the feedback waned, it reduced in a good way.
Okay.
So they weren't necessarily giving feedback to improve, but oh, thank you so much. Oh, this was great. Oh, nothing. Oh, and I realized that okay, now that was now the opportunity for me to improve personally. So now, okay, how then
Can I now move
can
forward?
I now
Yeah.
move forward? What then can I put into the content? Unfortunately, at the time when Karakama kind of packed up,
Okay.
but I think the company is still operating.
Yeah.
It's a primary operation, but in terms of content, the content I've not really checked recently to know whether
Yeah.
but
How's it?
I know that thankfully I was still one of the last people in the content space in Career Kama and their content.
Okay, before they shut down the entire
operation. So.
Okay, so after Kayakama, what next?
Quite a number of remote gigs, but then
this ghost written as well.
Yes, sorry, quite a number of ghostwriting gigs.
Okay.
Then I had the opportunity to work with Make Use Of.
Oh, okay.
Make Use Of's taglines basically, I think, simplifying tech. So they basically simplified tech problems for users, educated them basically problems. Maybe you have things ranging from gadgets, even career navigation to a large extent.
But that career navigation, does it have like a tech element to it?
Yes.
Is it like productivity in your career type of stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
It had that stuff. You had we talked about SaaS as well, productivity tools, and basically anything that can make you a lot more efficient in your workspace as a techie. So yeah, that was it for Make Use Of. I think I worked with Make Use Of for how long? Maybe approaching a year, or a year plus, until I just realized I wasn't working with them. That story is interesting.
I think we'll get to that at some point of this interview. But let's take it. So let's just say junior writer, Kayakama, staff writer, Make Use Of, sort of still junior in a way. Now senior technical writer at Techopedia. How did that jump happen?
How did it happen? Well, I mean, when I got Techopedia, it was equally from a referral. I wasn't. They didn't employ me as a senior technical writer. It was after a while, and I think that happens when you've proven yourself. So, yes, you write. You're doing what they require of you, and so over time, they realize that okay, this person has consistently delivered. So, to whom much what's that program?
Much is given, much expected.
Is that
right.
So eventually,
your save is great power, great responsibility. Yes,
that was fine. Okay. So eventually, when you've done stuff consistently, a time comes where they'll be able to give more stuff into your hands. So that's how the progression came. I honestly was just, when I'm working, sometimes I just focus on doing quality work. And what happens after happens. So I wasn't even
speak for you.
Yes, I wasn't even looking out for okay, how can I get? I wasn't sure if there was a career growth opportunity
or progression. You just shouted to do the work.
Just doing the work, and we got the I got the message, and I was like, oh great, thank God, and that was it.
Okay, you mentioned something along the line about you doing something repeatedly and how it sort of leads to growth. So I think I mentioned this before, but there's this interview I watched, and this guy said this thing. I think Joshua, I've forgotten his full name, I'm sorry. But he says that young people, we want the glitz and glamour. We want that, I worked as a junior this in Microsoft this year. Next year, I'm leading a team. I'm doing this like very, 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 very fast. And it's that we forget the little things. We forget the showing up every day, the doing the same thing over and over and over again. Do you think that maybe sort of, let's say even me moving to my next question, which is about niching down, do you think you sort of carving out that niche in the technical space and doing similar things over and over has impacted the quality of your writing, editing, and just general content delivery?
Of course. It's like, what's the name of this book? Atomic Habits.
Oh, okay, James Clear.
Yes, James Clear. I mean, if you keep at something consistently and you're improving a percentage every day, it's only a matter of time where you become an expert in that thing.
That's like compounding interest in
exactly. Whether you are trying or not trying, you showing up every day, it becomes second nature. So, to be honest, before I started writing, I never saw myself as this.
Okay.
But because I kept at it and I wasn't just looking for money again. Initially, I will not lie.
You said I'm not lying.
Money
But,
was a huge factor, but that can only take you
so
far because eventually, once your priorities are not, right, it will show. It
In
show
the
the
work you are
quality of
doing.
the work, and you will just be sifted out.
So that said, what does your day to day look like?
I wake up and then if it's on a day, I'm maybe going for a run.
Okay.
I use maybe 15 minutes to prepare, head out, or 30 minutes, head out of the house, go for a run for about 30, 40 minutes, come back. Then I now do a devotion, my morning devotion.
Okay.
Because I usually realize that if I want to do that first, I don't like rushing to do my devotion.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel like a task.
So yes, so I just have to calm down. So when I come back, if I don't have any pending task
Yeah.
I have to do urgently, I just have a nice bath and then have my devotion, get something to eat. Because if I don't eat, I won't eat until night. It's bad. It's
very
actually
bad.
It's bad.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of ordering foods.
Okay.
So I would rather cook, and if I have not planned it ahead,
Like mentally, so actually
it's
start
just
cooking.
like and then it's work. Okay, let's just get this done. I'll think of what to eat. So and yes, work can take me sometimes till maybe 6 p.m.,
Okay.
5 p.m., but sometimes 10 p.m.,
Wow.
11
Okay.
p.m.
I was about to say, oh, sometimes you finish earlier. And you...
Well, it doesn't happen every day. There
Okay,
are days
of
when
course.
I don't have as much, and
To
I
do,
like
yeah.
it. Just
Would
good
you say
work-life
that's
balance,
one thing you
so
like the most about being a freelancer?
I like the freedom. I like the freedom.
For freedom.
But I genuinely, you know me, I'm still inclined towards 9 to 5. A good 9 to 5.
I like that distinction.
We're in an interesting economy. So
Interesting
it has
is
to
a word
make
for
sense.
it.
It has to, and if I'm doing 9 to 5, I would appreciate the opportunity to still be able to balance whatever freelance I'm doing.
I'm not sure that many 9 to 5 will give you that balance.
Well, you have to build systems. Don't ask me that.
They say don't ask me that.
That's just it. For you to you have to build systems.
Okay. So what would you say? So for example, you said Karakama, you learned about SEO. That was like your SEO foundation, right? Good feedback. You learned to actually hone your own writing skill. What would you say is like one lesson you have learned from every single place you have worked?
I think the second major place I worked at, one major thing I learned was being very intentional about the quality of the content I'm putting out. Not just quality, but level of, would I say, the correctness.
Okay. In what sense?
So let me put it in context. So in a situation where we are given the task to write an article on, let me say, a productivity tool. Okay. Let me just simplify it. The experience part of it. So the experience part of content, knowing how to put your own personal opinion on a piece to help the user resonate clearly with that piece, knowing that okay, this is how
my own
I
experience with this tool.
thing,
yeah,
as opposed to just getting information from reviews, picking up stuff, doing research, and then writing your own stuff. But then I became a lot more intentional with how true is this thing? How correct is this thing? What are people saying about this thing? Because the kind of content I was writing at Make Use Of, which is actually
go on.
The kind of content was slightly different from what I was writing from Career Kama.
You went from career to tech.
So Career Kama, it was more career navigation. You could do that with good research and all of that. But when it comes to hands-on stuff that you could do with maybe some tools, productivity stuff, you actually have to test some of these things, check it out, take screenshots.
So, quick one. Do you test every single tool you write about?
Sometimes if I've never ever heard of that tool before, I've never used it, I actually have to. I actually have to look at it. What is it? Read about it. Look at reviews. Probably even watch a YouTube video on it because I don't know about it. So, but I want a situation whereby when I'm writing it or I'm editing, I can see a mistake and know that this is actually a mistake
Because you
and
know about
because
that
I
too
know
now.
about
Yeah.
it. And that way I can put some personal opinion
Okay.
as opposed to just picking stuff from left, right, and center. And so I usually find it difficult when a client, recently I had the opportunity to work with a client that wanted us to do something iGaming related.
Okay.
I unfortunately couldn't have access to the app directly.
Oh, is that like a location thing or
Yes,
something?
location
Oh,
restriction.
okay.
So it limited how much I could play around with it. So I genuinely wanted to just lay my hands on it, just to just say, okay,
How does
okay,
this actually
do you
work?
get?
Yeah.
So I had to work with someone who was there.
Okay.
It was still a personal experience, unfortunately not mine,
Your one, yeah.
but it was their personal experience.
And that person
Getting
is not a writer.
screenshots. Yes, that person
Okay, so
wasn't a
it's
writer.
like you are converting the person's own to
Exactly.
your
So
own.
now, but it was a lot, and I realized it wasn't sustainable. I just said, I think it's high time we ended this because it wasn't sustainable.
Okay.
I mean, if I have to take screenshots and I have to tell you, I don't even know what screenshots to ask because I'm
Yeah.
not seeing the tool.
Sure.
It just didn't make sense. So for me, I think that's one thing I learned from Make Use Of as well, that because they began to emphasize it, you have to, the experience aspect of it in content is essential. So
Okay, then next company, the major learning.
Okay, next company, I would say the experience was equally emphasized, but
I mean, lesson does not have to be a good thing, you.
no.
The lesson you learn from work doesn't have to be a good thing.
Do you learn bad lessons?
It could be a good thing you have learned, but from a bad experience. Right? For example, I've had a lesson that I learned where it's more of like, for some jobs, collect half of the money first before you do the rest. That's a lesson, right?
Okay, I remember.
Okay, that's clicked.
I'll say probably always a bad way.
Okay.
So there's this client I'm working with. It goes to written gig, and unfortunately, this gig I'm actually meant to have publishing rights for it.
Okay.
At the beginning, the client reached out, said, "Oh, I should send my bio," and I wrote everything. I wrote it till today. This is over a year.
You still don't have byline credit.
I still don't have all the articles written under someone's name, different people, and I'm like, I'm just wondering that
what's going on.
What's going on? So, I think while it was agreed, maybe one lesson would be that if I see that kind of thing happening again, I would just tell them, sorry, I wouldn't write until
you actually have that.
I'm assured that I have my byline. But I mean, I just continued and that's it.
Okay, so next one I'll ask is, in our space, people always have this, I won't say dichotomy, but in the sense of, do you niche down or are you a generalist? This is a hot debate on LinkedIn right now. Because people are like, niche down, charge higher. Some are like, why don't you just do everything? Why do you have to fit yourself into a particular boat or something, right? So what boats would you say you reside in, if you reside in any of these boats, and why?
So I won't speak for myself.
Why don't you speak for yourself?
I would just say generally. I would speak for both. So my opinion on both in a sense. And my opinion doesn't necessarily mean
that's what you are doing.
That's
so you're not practicing what you want to preach.
Okay. Anyway, so first I would say that it depends on what you're going for.
Okay.
If you want to generalize, you eventually may have to build systems that will make that work.
Okay, because you're right about every single thing.
It's almost impractical.
Okay.
And for you to do every single thing and still be profitable, you need people. You need to pull help from people's skills, their resources, their experiences. You need people. But if you begin to niche down, it gives you the opportunity to do stuff by yourself, alone by yourself, and actually still be in a very good place to earn profitably. So I think it's, at the end of the day, both of them have the opportunities, they grant you the opportunity to, for high earning potential.
Yeah, but just different paths to get to that high earning potential. What would you say is easier if there's such a thing in the content space?
I think it's easy to niche down.
Okay.
Because at the point where you want to start building systems to scale up,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot. You need to work with trust. It's a lot of, so, well, you trust yourself, you know yourself, you know your limits, you know your strengths.
Okay, so you
I
know
think
what you
you
take
know
or what you
yourself,
can't do.
yes. So I think it's easier to niche down.
Don't do
That's probably also why you niche down in some traditional careers like engineering.
Hmm.
After you finish your first degree, you go into masters, you
In a
PhD,
specific field
you're
of engineering.
going, focusing down, and you become an expert there.
Okay, so with niching down comes expertise.
That's
Okay.
it.
All right, so let's move to your stack. So I think every profession has their stack, right? So for a designer, a stack could be maybe Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and all of that. So what are the tools that you can't do without as a content writer? Please don't mention Google Docs. Please don't mention Grammarly. But what other tools do you use as a technical content writer that you think if you didn't have these things, your life or your job would be a lot harder?
Be a lot harder.
Yeah, without those tools.
I use AI.
Okay.
I use AI.
Which models?
GPT, ChatGPT 4.0.
Okay.
Okay.
Use Gemini.
I've tried it. I think ChatGPT has already grown on me. So when
to learn how another one works.
No, I think they kind of have like
similar,
but I'm used to a kind of like response.
Okay.
To that extent. So when I feel like you can give me more, but you're not giving me more, you're just summarizing. Like I have to prompt you to
do more.
Yeah. Okay. So I think AI has really helped streamline my work.
Okay, what ways?
Idea generation, research. Oh, research! My God.
My God.
I remember writing a trial article one time. The article I was writing in 3 hours, and the client was on the other end waiting.
So that was not even a trial. That was like a job test or an interview.
Yes,
rather.
Exactly. I mean, you get the point. And so I needed to pull information from a YouTube video. That video was about 10 minutes. I can't be watching. I had 3 hours. I can't be sitting down to watch.
When you should be writing.
You get. So I used an AI tool to transcribe.
Okay, the entire video. Okay, so extract this. Okay.
Then I took the transcription to ChatGPT. Told it to extract the points, major points from me. Then I read it from there. Then that's where I started using. So I just knew that okay, this has to be correct. But I was checking for it. So if it gave me a point, I'll check on the transcription to see if that point is
actually mentioned. Yeah.
And then I'll go and keep on writing. So I think without AI, definitely we may not be as efficient. These tools help a lot, but you say I shouldn't mention the typical ones. To be honest, I don't really use so many tools. I don't really use. I think some years back I used to hear things like what's the tool that they use for paraphrasing?
Quillbot.
Yeah. I've never used Quillbot.
Yeah, same. Actually, I used it once. I was writing an article comparing it to Grammarly.
Oh,
yeah,
so
I had to use it.
I've never, you understand. So, but I think that's pretty much it. AI, any form of AI that can actually just help make the work faster.
What about design software for like custom images?
Okay, well, Canva. Of course.
Canva.
I use Canva for thumbnails sometimes. Even I started doing when I was working with Make Use Of. So sometimes we have to design the feature image. So I had to design that as well, and it was good. It made me learn. Threw me into the challenge, and if anything I don't know, watch YouTube, play around with it, and I just figure it out. So I think, but I feel like if I don't know how to use it, I can still make it work. If I don't know how to use Canva, I can still find a way around it. Like if I have someone who is a graphics designer,
how far can you
let the person know? So that's why I won't say it's hardcore
like stuff.
You understand? But like I mentioned, AI,
you can even generate your own images now.
Exactly.
Fair.
So it helps idea generation. I think when AI just started gaining a lot of wave and traction, there was a time I was trying to think of an example to I just explained something. So I was
Usually
trying
like
to
an
think,
analogy. That's
yes,
cool.
just what analogy?
Yeah.
But I knew that if I saw an analogy,
You
it was
know
going
how
to.
to,
So I just
yeah.
explained it, and boom, I was like, oh my god. So
Alright.
yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't copy and paste, but
Mhm.
gives me ideas and it just unlocks. So right now I feel like, you know, when we have writer's block,
Yeah.
right now I
Does
feel
it
like
exist?
it should not exist again. I
Hmm.
don't think it should exist anymore. So.
Okay, interesting. So I really like bought into what you said regarding using of AI. Me personally, I think most recent case or my most recent prominent use case stats, especially search GPT and perplexities. Like, give me a stat related to this.
Ah,
Boom,
yes,
put it there.
perplexity.
It's
Funny
so
how I've not
fast.
really used Search GPT.
Really?
I've not really
Ah, nice.
played
Try it.
around with it, but I think I'll play
I
around
wish
because
it was out
perplexity
when I was
helps.
writing my
Very
final
well.
year project.
Are you serious? That good?
Guy, citations, references, everything, just very, very easy.
Definitely gonna try it.
All right. So I think let's talk about canon moments, right? 3 moments in your life that have
Three.
made you, okay, 2, 1, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know how many you have, but those moments that have made you who you are today, right? Those experiences that without them, your life might have taken a different course, professionally, especially. So yeah, it could be meeting somebody, it could be a
One,
conversation.
meeting you.
Thanks.
Secondly, meeting the person you fed into. Shout out to
I feel
me.
like you are cheating.
Shout out to me.
Okay. The third.
Third would be. Third would be.
I feel like I want to give you one. Let's say working at CK.
I thought of that, but I feel like I've given them too much credit.
We are such in Nigeria.
No. But I would say. So I recently started writing for a client, and it's a newsletter.
Okay.
I think it's quite significant for me, especially because it's not something I'm naturally inclined to, or I was naturally inclined to. I write newsletters for a client, and it's on e-commerce.
Oh, nice.
I'm not inclined to it. But that's one thing I've realized.
Does challenge you?
Yes, and that's one thing I like about writing. You end up writing about stuff that you, of your own accord, you may not pick up to read, but because you have to do it and someone is dependent on that information, you just have to do it, and it has to be good and come out well.
I think that thing is so weird. I saw it switch and someone was like, if you should write for this company now, I'll be on my laptop by 8 a.m. I'm just but you should write for myself.
I'm not kidding. It's hard to just. Once again, I think this will be the third time I'm mentioning Treasure. She inspires me a lot. So I mean, she has a newsletter.
Yeah, I love it.
And just being able to sit down to write.
So your thoughts, put them
just write. I can do it, but like I said in the beginning, that was my major concern. If there was
there's no competition, there's no competition do this for this person is relying on
to
this
just
thing.
Say
they push.
I want to write for
myself.
I'd rather do something else.
Yeah.
You understand? Rather build stuff, play with stuff, make something than write.
Right.
And
when you even do it as a job, sometimes you want to do anything but write.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fair.
So that's pretty much. I think even the time I shared with you that I wrote a story.
Yeah.
That was for a competition. That was during COVID.
That was a good story. I think I'll put like a snippet of it or something in the video. It's a really good story. Yeah. And that twist at the end was like, damn, look at right.
It was during COVID, and I just said, you know what? Thankfully, I told myself, I just felt like I wasn't going to win, but I was going to do a good job.
Okay.
Whatever I was going to do, I would be proud of it. 10 years from now, I'll be proud of it. I'll look at it. I think I still read it sometime this year, and I was proud of it. So
that makes one of us. When I look at some of the things I wrote, I started like,
are you serious?
I still have one portfolio.
I appreciate the growth.
I'm going to close it down.
No, I appreciate the growth. Quite all right. I've seen things I wrote like even 3 years ago that was like, but
bombastic side.
I appreciate the fact that I can see a change.
Yeah, that wide growth.
I mean,
do you think it reaches like a plateau? Someone says that with all professions, there's a level of skill you get to. It keeps going up with more you do it, but then you reach a plateau where you can't really differentiate in terms of this is slightly better, but not so much better than what I did last year. Do you think that happens in the content space?
In the content
Yeah.
space. So, once again, if AI wasn't as it is today, I'd say it may happen,
Okay.
but that would be false because human beings are dynamic and we are very creative.
Even the situations around us are
So
so
when
different.
we get to a place that seems like,
how can I make this better?
There will always be something new. There will always be. That's why we equally have AI. So, but with AI now, I doubt that there would ever be that.
Another way you can frame this.
Exactly.
Something you can add,
Once
something you can subtract.
You have that mindset to improve 1% every day or for every content. How can I make this better?
I think Jim Clare is supposed to sponsor us.
Exactly. I think giving yourself to that mentality that, you know what, let me constantly improve on myself. When you have that mindset that I want to improve on everything I am doing, I strongly believe that you find new ideas to doing great things. You always find ideas. Always find. I've come to think of it, people have been singing songs.
Actually, since the fair. Okay, I think fair enough. I mean, that's the best example.
Right here, we can form 100 different tunes, and they'll be different.
And that's even without AI.
Without AI, exactly. So,
and bringing that in just adds a whole level of dynamism. Let's just. All right, so I want to talk about something really interesting. But what is about search engine optimization, EAT, expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, right? Have you heard of GEO? So, yes, I've heard of GEO, yeah. It's a new term. I came across it this week on LinkedIn, a post, one thought leadership post about it. So GEO actually stands for Generative Engine Optimization. So the way we optimize content for search engines like Google and the likes, people are now coming up with ways to optimize content for generative AI, like ChatGPT. They're like, okay, what do I have to do for my content to come up in GPT search, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an
entirely new stream of let's say an audience of just possibility. Yeah. It's wild.
Interesting.
I don't know. A lot of people don't know about it. I didn't even know about it this week, but it's
definitely unlocks a lot more opportunities in that regard.
Because a lot of people would go to GPT search for,
of course,
what can I do to actually rank at the top of GPT search, right? And fundamentally, it's pretty much the same, right? Things like the more concise, the better. The more personal experiences, the better. And things like TLDRs, you just put it at the top bullet point. This is the king of the article. So GPT will just bring it up.
I actually used to think that these AI generative tools, especially like Search GPT now, I've always wondered that doesn't it just like Perplexity, doesn't it just pull information from the traditional search engine like Google?
Yeah.
So then, is it not relying on what ranks on Google?
Not necessarily what ranks, because of the amount of information is pulling from the web. It's thousands of search pages.
Of course.
It's now ranking and indexing it by itself. You can do an experiment, right? So search for something on ChatGPT. Search for something on Google.
Yes.
The ranking things are not the same.
But you would likely see them on
you may see some similar, but it's not the same.
Okay, because
so
I've done that for Perplexity.
Okay.
And I've seen if it brings out 5 sources.
Yeah. You'll probably see the 5
those 5 are like on the first page. So just give me an idea that most of the time it's from there. But I mean, like I said,
you would testify that like sometimes I haven't searched for things on Google, right? And the first 5 times they're not telling you what you want. You're searching for a particular keyword, but you're not seeing anything that's related. So I think that's where things like ChatGPT will come into play, because it gives you exactly what you're looking for contextually with sources. I think that with sources, like where's your source?
It just cuts down the search time.
Like it's so great. So I think at this point we'll play a small game. Play a very small game. I don't know why I love playing games. So in the spirit of AI, we'll have a little bit of an AI game, right? So I'm going to give you don't be scared. I'm going to give you 2 sentences. We'll project it on the screen for the audience to guess. So they might probably pause to guess. So you're meant to tell me which one is AI written, right?
Okay.
So I think I'm going to give you to read because last time I wrote and someone said my handwriting is not fine, so I'm not doing it again. So I
Should I
have
read it out or you would read it for me?
yeah no just read it. Just read it on your own. Deep thought.
So the question is, which was written? Was AI written?
Yeah, that's the question. Which of these?
It's hard to tell.
That's why
That's the
that's the
but I think I would go for the first one.
the first one that says there's no certain description of what the future of the content industry will look like, although a bit of okay. So you're saying the first one is AI written?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is actually human written.
So actually,
It's actually human written.
I wanted to go for
See, shalaye.
No, wait.
Shalaye.
I actually want to go for the second one. Wait.
Okay.
But
But what happened?
But
Well,
I realized that it's possible that I think it's not far fetched to write like the second one.
both of them is not perfect, right?
Actually,
Because this is actually taken from a technical article that someone I respect in the industry wrote about Search GPT.
Oh,
Yeah, it's again. So I took a paragraph from it and I plugged it somewhere to generate something similar. Yeah, I think it's Claude that generated.
I think that first one it's well written, and I was like, this could be AI.
He said this could be AI. So anything more with it is AI.
No, that's not that.
That's so. all right. So let's move. Let's do a bit of finances, right? Do you remember the first salary you ever earned? I remember my own. I think I've told myself before, but I'll say it again. The first salary was 1.6 naira per word. That time, I was actually in this. They used to call it a content mill because of you just pushing out content. That was back in 2018, 19, that was about 2018, 19. It was the Nigerian agency. I don't remember the name. But I remember the owner's name, but I'll not mention his name. I see him on the road. But anyways, yeah, I had 1.6 naira. I'll write maybe like 10K words in a week on different topics, ebooks and all of that. And I'll earn 16K in a week. I'll enter my weekend and I'll flex. But then, 2018, 19,
wasn't bad for a young boy.
I did try. But that's terrible. So what was your own like?
I think I was in Nigeria.
Okay, Nigeria.
I think I was privileged.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying in Nigeria specifically. I think I was privileged to start with 3 naira.
Wait, 3 naira per word, okay.
Per word. And my first, I think I wrote 3 articles. Can't remember the average word counts, but at the end of the day, landed on about 23,000-ish.
Oh, you said we try now.
Yeah, I used that money.
Some of us now below 20K we chop first time, but no.
I used that money to pay debt.
Oh, okay. I can remember you said
I
you were in debt.
2,000 naira on it. So
Okay.
25,000 naira.
So you just gave you 2K as jar.
But I was so happy. Like, yes, let's go again. Next week.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Okay, let's move to like for people that want to start like writing articles in the technical space. What would you say are like 3 skills that they need to have? So let's forget aspire to Maguire, manage your time, all these type of content we see every day. From a senior technical writer to one boy probably in Unilag that is in year 3 that just wants to start earning from content. What are 3 skills you think they should gain like really, really fast if they want to stand out, especially in the technical writing field?
I think problem solving.
Okay.
Because as a technical writer, you're solving problems. You need to be able to present whatever complex information to any audience in a very simple manner.
Okay, you say to any audience. That means you could be presenting to an expert audience or complete beginners.
Okay. Still, even if it's an expert audience,
there's a way you have to frame it. Yeah.
I mean, it's just coining. Okay. But at the end of the day, I think problem solving as a writer is critical. It may not look like the mundane problem solving that we see in other fields, but I think it's important. Then I would say soft skill, maybe attention to detail. Attention to detail. I think that's one of the things I admire with my editor in Techopedia.
Okay.
Attention to detail is impressive. Jen Peters. Within a short time, she picks it. I think maybe because as the writer, you've written and you've
there's that tunnel vision. Yeah.
You've
read that article that over and over and over.
That's why to like sleep
on it before you now send
it. Do you want to proofread? but when she just picks it, you are also able to read in between the lines. What from what you said here, this is, I mean, the implication of what this sentence is not what you're trying to. You understand? You need to be able to read in between the lines. Attention to detail matters, and beyond that, just the regular formatting, how well you present your content. Really just matters. I think it helps separate when you see professionals, the way they present their stuff, how detailed they can be with everything. It easily just separates them from
the average writer.
So
okay, one of the last ones I'll ask would be a thing of aside writing, what do you do? What do you like to do aside from content?
I'm not trying to sound.
Proceeds to sound.
So there are quite a number of things.
Okay.
I think I like anything faith-based.
Okay.
I like having conversations about the Bible.
Okay.
Just anything, maybe a conundrum in the faith.
There are a lot of those these days.
There are a lot of those these days, and so I like feeding on, watching
that
videos,
type of content,
that kind of content, because I know people have questions and they're looking for answers. So I just would love to be someone who can actually even provide answers to people like that. So I enjoy it. I enjoy watching movies, but I don't watch a lot of that because when I do, if I start watching series, I find it hard to stop.
I think that's the point.
I just keep going and going, and I'm like, oh God, I'm wasting my time. You understand? So I love.
What show are you currently watching?
Prison Break.
I think I finished that last month.
I see. Show. I think Prison Break is. Let's not start.
It's just. Another episode for that one. We'll gist about Prison Break. Separate episode. All right, so let's go to childhood a bit. What would you say is something that you love to do as a child, but you don't do it now?
I loved to do as a child.
Yeah, I used to do it as a child, but you don't do it now.
Let's play football.
No, why don't you play football anymore?
So I stopped because I stopped in junior secondary, just three. And when I was entering SS1, I was changing schools.
Oh, okay.
And we used to wear white uniform.
Oh.
So, and my school was far from my house. And I didn't want to be changing in school.
Okay.
So I just said, you know what, as a big boy now,
you don't hang your boots.
Just let these small children. But I still hope to go back to playing football someday. But I'm picking up in other aspects of sports. But yeah, I think football is one thing that I did a lot that I think I'd love to go back to.
Okay. What is one hill that you're willing to die on? It could be faith related, it could be content related, it could just be life.
2 hills.
Two. Okay.
The first hill is that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And no man comes unto him, unto the Father except through him. That's the first hill.
Okay.
I'll die on that hill. Second one is that I know people will come for me. Funny enough, this hill. Okay.
Is those anything controversial on this show, please?
No, I mean, this second hill is that the GOAT is Ronaldo.
We'll take that out of the video.
No.
We'll take that out
that is it. It was there. It's my hill. That is it. I respect Messi, and I'm not even a great football fan. I respect Messi.
So a not great football fan is telling you that Ronaldo is good. So you can see your source. And that's what I would say.
I am on this field. I think Ronaldo. I just like him. I just like him.
Average.
Nice.
Average. All right. So I think we've learned a lot, honestly. So Adegoke Joshua, senior writer. Look there. Why do you create? In 2 sentences, or maybe 3 sentences or less, why do you create? Why do you wake up every day to write? Why do you do what you do?
I think I create because there are problems to be solved. And if your creation is not solving a problem, it's pointless. So beyond just creating in the digital space, I think creating generally from aspects like engineering. I have an engineering background. I think it's one of the things that actually led me to study engineering. Just wanting to make something that helps, that solves a problem, that impacts. So I think having an innate desire to actually solve problems. We talked about the faith issue. People having a lot of questions. That's a problem. So if I start creating stuff around that, that's because I've identified the problem. And so I create because there are problems to be solved. And we are naturally inclined to the problems that we have the ability to solve. So
you create because you're a problem solver. All right. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
So any last words for aspiring writers, people that want to get into the content space, people that want to start creating? What would you say to them, or what would you say to yourself 3, 4, 5 years ago?
First, okay, the only thing I would say rather.
You say first.
Prioritize improving on whatever skills you have right now. If you're trying to get into the content space or writing, prioritize improving on your writing skills. I think that should be priority right now. Yes, there are different skills different tools you can use, blah, 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 AI and the likes, but know your stuff. Like I said, in like the statement made in Atomic Habits, prioritize improving yourself 1% every day, and so in a matter of time where you see yourself standing out as an expert in that field.
All right, thank you so much for that. Thank you for coming.
Me.
All right, so we just heard from Goke. It was a really insightful episode. We learned about his journey, how he made, I think, 20K. That was his first salary from writing, how he built his career, companies he has worked for, and a lot of other interesting stuff. Thank you for staying this long. If you look forward to more episodes like this, or you want to meet more interesting people in content, please like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps us out a lot, and we'll see you in the next one.